Welcome to the January 18, 2022 meeting of the school board. The meeting is called to order. At this time, please stand for a moment of silence, and we will proceed with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, I would like to welcome you to tonight's school board meeting. All in attendance is Superintendent Ms. Shirley Joseph, our district attorney, Mr. Tommy Reeves, Mr. Frankie Carroll, Ms. Susie Williams, myself, and remotely is Mrs. Carol Gibson. Ms. Becky, are there any public comments? For the record, there are no public comments. I would like to amend the agenda. 2.1, class size reduction compliance plan. I'm going to make it 5.8, and I'm going to pull 5.4, the 2022, no, 5.4, the Regions Bank purchasing card. On the consent agenda items, 4.1, minutes. 4.2, URSA 2 grant literacy reading tutoring for K through 3rd students. That's a grant of $55,139. Joint use agreement. That's Boys to King wants to use our buses for a trip, and they will be paying for the bus. Career Dual Enrollment Pathway Expansion Grant, that's $210,450. The MOU with Florida Code, permission to advertise policy change, internal accounts, 30 days. 2 staff trips, Ms. Howard in Jacksonville and Ms. Goet in Orlando, and supplements, 4.8. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda items by Ms. Susie and seconded by Ms. Carroll. If there's any need for discussion, all in favor? Federation? Approve. Ms. Susie? Ms. Carroll? Approve. Ms. Carroll? And approve.
Approve.
4.0.
Approve.
Ms. Becky. 5.1, job description. Supervisor of Transportation, Ms. Shirley Joseph.
Okay, Madam Chair, we are at the point that we need to advertise for supervisor of transportation. And this job description has been in place for a while, and we needed to update it. And we have updated it to include that we want the person to be proficient in computer usage and the transportation software. Later on in the agenda, you will see that our transportation supervisor is retiring, and at this time, we need to update the agenda, update the job description and advertise for that position. So I'm asking for your approval to approve this updated job description.
Do I have a motion to approve the job description?
I move to approve the.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda item for the job description by Mr. Carroll and seconded by Ms. Susie. Is there any need for this discussion? If not, Ms. Susie?
Approve.
Ms. Carroll?
Approve.
Ms.
Approve.
Ms. Gibson? Myself, approve, 4-0. 5.2, purchase of the music master, Ms. Shirley.
Okay, Madam Chair, again, the band department at the high school would like to purchase some new drums. It's over $10,000, and so that purchase has to come before you. And so we see 3 bids for the purchase of the updated drums. And your next question is who's gonna pay for them? The district will pay half of the cost, and their internal accounts for the bands will pay for the other half the cost of the drum. They have bid them out, and the lowest bid was $10,070.22, and half of that will be coming out of the general fund. The other half will be coming out of the band account at the school.
Do I have a motion to approve the purchase of the music master?
I move to approve the purchase of the Music Masters, from Music Masters.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the
Drum purchase.
purchase of the music
Drums.
of the drums. We have a motion to approve the drums by Mr. Carroll and by Ms. Gibson, right? Second. And seconded by Mr. Carroll. Are there any discussion? If not, Ms. Susie?
I approve.
Mr. Carroll?
Approve.
Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
And myself, approve, 4-0. 5.3, 2022-23 student calendar. Ms. Hill?
I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, what I have before you, it is that time again to start planning the student calendar for the next school year. And Ms. Hill and her committee has gotten together, and this is proposed student calendar for next year. That we have synchronized it with the college to coincide with their dual enrollment, with their spring break. So our dual enrollment students can do that. As you notice, it says draft, and if we have other changes, we'll bring before you, but we want to give the students parents, some kind of idea of what their next year would look like. And so I would like for the board to approve this proposed student calendar.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed student calendar
For 2020.
for 2022-2023?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the 2022-2023 student calendar, proposed calendar. Are there any discussions? None? All in favor?
Approve.
Mr. Carroll?
Approve.
Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
I myself approve, 4-0. 5.4 was pulled. 5.5, the financial report, Ms. Reddick.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, as you can tell, the more grants we get from the federal government, the bigger this report seems to get. But the back end of the report is mostly the federal programs, so we'll go over the front end of it first. The Fund 1000, which is your general fund. If you look at the column that says the revenues collected, you will see that we collected about $10.5 million so far this year, which is about 53%. But you'll also see under the district school taxes that they sent in their check early for 25% more than what we actually would be at this time. So we've gotten 75% of the tax money, but we're only halfway through the year. So that's going to artificially inflate some of the fund balances later on. If you look down at the bottom, total budget and expenses, you'll see we spent $8.8 million, but we still have $6.2 million that is encumbered. So we have to worry about that and covering that. When you also look at it, look at the difference between what your revenues are and what your expenses which is almost $400,000 short in revenues of what you're expecting in expenses. And we're going over these budgets daily, and we're pulling different things in and out of them to make sure that they're correct, and updating them from what our original proposals were in the trim notice. But it's still showing that based on the revenues, without considering the federal funding, we're still going to be behind around $400,000 unless we can cut some of those expenses in the general fund. This is going to leave us with somewhere around the money that's discretionary, unassigned, unrestricted, around an 8% fund balance. As we go into, flip over to Fund 2000 or 200, which is debt service, we're pretty flat on there. We are just paying off one of our loans, and it's staying pretty stable. So there's not much change there. If you look at Fund 300, which is the next fund back, you're going to notice that we have 69% of our revenue in, but we've only spent 19%, and that's in capital outlay. Some of that is because we have over $450,000 of it that's encumbered, that we haven't spent. We've encumbered it, we've locked it down. Part of that is the school buses. So this is our capital outlay account, and it's looking pretty stable right now. If you look at the next account, you're looking at food service. Food service, we've gotten in about 42% of our money, and we've spent about 42%. So we're running pretty stable there. Still at a little bit of a deficit, about $33,000. But overall, in their fund balance, it still looks pretty healthy. We have $85,000 that's in transit right now. We're waiting to come in. The next fund back is 4,200. Now, this is the first federal project that has most of the title grants in it. These federal projects should stay pretty much zeroed out unless we have money coming back and forth in transit. So you've got an expected budget of $3.5 million. You've gotten $1 million of that in, and you've spent $1 million of that. So you're pretty flat. We have $33,000 that's awaiting reimbursement. The next fund back, 4410. That was your first ESSER grant. And as you can see with that, we had $175 million in revenue. We've gotten 73% of the revenue. We've spent $214,000. These are the smaller pieces of the CARES grant. We have $38,000 in transit, staying pretty stable, pretty flat. The next is your 442, which is your actual different types of CARES grant that first came out in 2020, and most of them are finishing up in September of this year. We took in $39,000, and we've spent $43,000. We've got about $3,500 in transit right now. We still have another $9,000 that's encumbered. Going to the next one is 4430. Now that's your ESSER 2 pot of money. It actually is what they call the Coronavirus Response Relief Supplement Act, so the CRRSA. That's how you can easily distinguish between some of these CARES grants. The ESSER 1 CARES grants are going to all have like CARES after them. The ESSER 2 grants are all going to have CRRSA after them. And the new pot of money, which is the ESSER 3, is going to have ARP, American Rescue Plan, after them. So this is money that we got the advance last year, late in the year, and now we've gotten the rest of the lump sum. We've gotten in $1.9 million, which is about 45% of that money. We've spent $2 million, and we have $46,000 in transit. We've got another $800,000 encumbered. So we have $2.8 million of that $4.3 million encumbered or spent right now. That's of the ESSER 2 money. Now, as the Department of of Education decides what to do with the smaller pots of money, how to take, what they did was the big pot of money that came into the state, they split into a big group of money, and then they split out some smaller pots to satisfy some things like civics and pre-K and dual enrollment. So if you look at the 444, that's those smaller pots of money, still CRSSA money. And we've gotten approval, award letters for 275,000, but we don't have them yet. And then the last two pages are just the planning pages for the ARP money, which we don't have yet. We do have applications in for them, but the applications have to be approved by the Senate and actually the legislative body. So we won't know anything about them until we anticipate maybe the end of February, beginning of March, we'll know more about when and what we're going to get from the ARP money. Any questions?
Ms. Rainick,
Yes.
I appreciate what you're doing, especially checking on this daily. Now, of course, all of these monies, and we're talking about the millions of dollars, none of it's reoccurring money, is it? It's just
The federal dollars, are not recurring.
the federal, right,
Well,
okay.
excuse me, the ESSER federal dollars are not recurring. Your title dollars are going to be recurring. Most of those are recurring every year.
Right, but, I was referring to the federal money. Mhm.
Okay.
That's strictly, we spend it and we don't get it, it won't be continuing, in other words.
As long as the presidency doesn't award us any more money, we won't get it again. But I can't project into the future.
No, you're right, I know, okay. Well, anyway, I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for the explanation, too.
Thank you so much. I hope you feel better.
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling fine, thank you.
Great, great.
Thank you, Ms.
Any
Rainey.
questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do we have a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make the motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
Second. We have a motion to approve by Ms. Susie and seconded by Mr. Kara. Is it any discussion, need for discussion? All in favor, Ms. Susie?
Approve.
Mr. Kara?
Approved.
Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Myself approve 4-0. Student field trip to the Holocaust Museum.
Okay, Ms. Chair, we've got a field trip request from Ms. Suzanne Griffin to attend the Holocaust Museum in late February or early March. And I'm gonna ask that we postpone this because we need a specific date and we do not have a specific date. And so I will talk with her, and since it's not till late February, we'll have time to approve this on the at the first meeting in February.
Okay. All right. 5.7, Mr. Killingsworth?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to bring before you all tonight personnel recommendations, which at this time are 3 instructional positions and 8 non-instructional positions. As Ms. Joseph had alluded to earlier, we have 1 that will be retiring that you can see, as well as our after-school tutoring list, which is basically all of them kind of on one page right there. And it'll be a variety of them based on the days and what they can do as to who does it. It isn't like every one of them's going to be doing it every day.
Mr. Killingsworth?
Yes, ma'am.
With these new 3 teachers, how many teachers are we still short?
We're still short. We are still short.
How many?
Right now, you've got it, just to get to the regular spots, you've got a couple at the central school. High school, we've got 1. Pinetta, we've got 1, but we've got something worked out to where we can cover, so right now the other parts are taken care of.
Okay, well, I know getting 3.
I mean, we still have, bus drivers, we're short, of course, custodial, lunchroom, of course, we're short there. And we're continually trying to come up with some new ways, and we actually have a new way that we'll talk with you later about that may help us teacher-wise. Of course, that won't help us till next year, but we've got to start planning for that as well.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the personnel changes?
I move to.
I move to, go ahead.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the personnel changes by Mr. Carroll, and it's seconded by Ms. Williams. Is there any need for any more discussion? If not, all in favor, Ms. Susie?
Approve.
Mr. Carroll?
Approved.
Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
And myself, approve.
Thank y'all.
4-0. 5.8, class size reduction compliance plan, Ms. Rainick.
Yes, we got notice from the Department of Education, when they took our Survey 2 information, they broke it out by classrooms. We have 157 classrooms that reported students in them. One of the 157 was one student over the class size, which equates to about 0.29 FTE, which equates to about $1,295. What this plan is an opportunity for the district to say what they're going to do to correct that, if it's already corrected, and if it is, they may forgive us that 0.29 FTE. So that plan is just saying, when we found out about it, there was another class, exact same class, but in a different period, that had 21 students in it. So we moved the one student into that class, making them both at 22 students, which is the maximum for grades 4 through 8. It was a class at Central. It was an English class at Central.
So we're in compliance.
We're in compliance now. Now, we have to stay in compliance for the February survey. So we want to make sure that we get out there and check those classes, make sure they're all the right sizes. But right now, we're in compliance, and that's what that correctional plan is, saying we're in compliance.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to approve the class reduction compliance plan?
I move to approve it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the class size reduction compliance plan. We have a second by Ms. Gibson. Is there any more need for discussion? All in favor? Ms. Susan?
Approve.
Mr. Carroll?
Approved.
Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
And myself approve. 4.0. 4. Okay. Ms. Shirley, do you have any?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First of all, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Last Friday, we held the, our district spelling bee, competition, and the winners were for the 5 through 8 competition, and he will be going to Jacksonville to compete in the regional spelling bee competition. Was Marvin Matt Taylor third, and the runner-up was Miss Anaya Ray for the 5 through 8. And we also let the 4th graders compete just to get in the habit of it. But the 4th grade champion was Mr. Eddie Ferguson, and the runner-up was Harold Baxley. And so that was the result of the spelling bee. And I think Ms. Thomas sent that out to all the persons. If you've been wondering what's going on, first of all, we know there has been a rise in COVID positive cases, and we do not want students in school if they're positive. Also, the governor has given parents a choice. Right now, the health department says if you are positive, you do need to stay home. But if you're a close contact, that's a parent's right, whether you stay home or not. You may come to school, but wear a mask. And I know some parents are leery, and after the extended weekend and coming back from Christmas, what we have done, we have given the kids, we've informed them the option that they have the right to stay home, but we do need a parent's note stating that it was related to COVID and it will be excused. And we have vamped up our efforts to make sure that teaching continues. Okay, we already know that we're 1-to-1 with devices. And so we do have enough devices. The parent may need to go to the school to pick up the devices, but we're asking all of our K-2 teachers to prepare a packet for a child if they're having to stay home because of sickness, because of COVID or something like that, because we do not need them to having downtime in education because of us. We're asking all of our 3 through 5 teachers to communicate with their students, their parents through Class Dojo, and our 6 through 12 students, teachers, we're asking them to communicate with their students through Google Classrooms. And so we respect the rights of parents, we respect the rights of students, and we do know COVID is real, okay? And people have different opinions of it, and if they choose to stay home, we put in a plan for them to continue education. And we've also, through the state health department, somebody's health department, we have provided sanitizing wipes and germicide to each student. Now, all the teachers need to give it to their students and send it home, but we've given one of those to each child to take home.
Is this just for this week?
It's just for this week officially, but we've got a lot of teachers out there. It's hard, even though we're working with Kelly Services, some of our substitutes have been sick. And so we've been having a really, really hard time finding substitutes. I've got to commend the district staff. We have been in schools. I've had one district staff answering the phone at Central School. And I always have someone working in the cafeteria. But we go where we need it, but it's only so many. And we've had so many staff out, we weren't able to cover them. But we do want our kids and staff safe. And so we know this was a heavy period, and so we just wanted to alleviate the minds of their parents that we are working with them. School is not closing. If you just choose to send your child to school, send your child to school. We're putting safety measures in place, but if you need to keep them home, and don't feel threatened that we're going to jeopardize their education.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves?
Not unless y'all have questions.
Mr. Carroll?
I'd just like to congratulate all the spelling bee winners. I've seen them on Facebook, their names and that sort of thing. I'd like to congratulate them. And hopefully we'll get through this time again with this COVID stuff. I know it's going around pretty regular, but I appreciate Ms. Joseph and them stepping up, and and our teachers and all stepping up to, even if they have to be out, they got something they can be working on at home if they want to. So hopefully it'll get better. That's all I got.
Ms. Susie?
I just want to thank the spelling bee winners and welcome everybody back, and appreciate all that we're doing to keep our kids safe health-wise and educate them at the same time. And I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Johnson. We're going to miss you, and we wish you well.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate the spelling bee participants and, of course, the winners also. And I want to thank you for allowing me to participate in this manner tonight, and I wish you everyone well. Thank you.
I'm going to concur with Ms.
You all came in loud and clear, I may add.
Ma'am?
You all came in loud and clear. Very
Okay.
good.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very
Yes, ma'am.
much.
I want to concur with Ms. Williams about, we're going to miss Mr. Ivan Johnson. He was a big part of the district. He was there all the time. He ran routes. He ran the office. He did a lot, and we're going to miss him. I want to welcome everybody back. I want to congratulate our spelling bee winners. Job well done. I want to thank the staff for continuing to work together to get it done. I appreciate you, and y'all can continue to be safe. If there's nothing else,
I make the motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Thank you.